Peace, everyone. It's BlackHighPriestess. Um, I just had some thoughts. I've been seeing so much stuff on social media that I really want to respond to. So at this time, I want to continue the conversation pertaining to Derek Jackson's messages to women and how people, have been responding to Kevin Samuels, talking to the sister about, dating standards. And I want to add a couple more perspectives. So I watched this brother, Bernard Riley, and he has a channel called Grown Man Hour. It's called Bernard Riley, but it's called Grown Man Hour. And I came across his channel because he was critiquing what Derek Jackson said. So I listened to that. I haven't done too much research on the brother Bernard Riley, but from what I can see, he is married. And the main reason I chose to respond to his critique of Derek Jackson is because he mentioned having a PhD, and then he also mentioned when he was on the dating market, he wasn't able to pull a Victoria's Secret model, and I quote. So I thought this was an excellent point to piggyback off of my initial couple videos about Team Jackson versus Kevin Samuels and some of the points I brought up. But I want to take this brother's perspective and just kind of talk about how important being real is to me as Black High Priestess when creating solutions for Black women. I'm about helping anybody who sees the value in what I offer, but my brand emerged from my experiences as a Black woman dealing with white supremacy without Black male allies and without Black female ample support. So my experiences as a Black woman helped me understand the enormous imbalance on planet Earth based on how Black women are treated by Black men, and understanding white supremacy should not be the discussion when talking about healing Black women. The Black man's accountability and the Black man's inferiority is something that needs to be discussed. The Black woman's love and respect for herself is something that needs to be discussed, because the way Black women act and behave and look and dress and think and are fake. The way Black women clearly do not see themselves as beautiful based on how fake and phony they choose to be cosmetically is directly related to Black men's hatred of Black women. Hatred of how Black women look, hatred of how Black women act, hatred of Black women wanting higher standards, hatred of the fact that Black women still exist, because he can't just go into the pussy of a white woman and say, hey, we made it, we're free. No, you have a responsibility to protect and provide for your race. And the Black man has abandoned all accountability by openly choosing to date and marry and procreate with his enemy, with the enemy of the Black race. And I'm not marginalizing white people to being an enemy of the Black race. Let's talk about Satan. Let's talk about the mechanisms that Satan uses. Racism is one of them. Sexism is one of them. Interracial procreation, diluting the gene pool, genetics and eugenics is one of the tools that Satan uses. And the way black women behave is directly related to the fact that black men will openly abandon the black woman that God ordained him to protect and provide for the woman of a superior man and for the woman of his conqueror. The black man has no regard for black women. And we don't want to address the black man's inferiority. We don't want to even call him inferior. We're afraid of the word. When right inside of the word inferior is the problem with the black race. F-E-A-R. In fear. Black men are in fear. And so black women have to step up to the plate. And the black women who are in fear of the reality that we are the only race of women who don't have our men's support, who don't have men of power, who don't have men who are dignified to protect and provide for us and show the world where their allegiance lies. But instead, they will openly sell out and show the world that they prefer slavery. Because it's easier than protecting and providing for women who look black, for women who are dark skinned and look African, like that sister in question. So I my point in bringing up Bernard Riley here is my angle is real people have real standards, and I want single black people, single black women, especially, and when I say black, I'm qualifying it. I'm not saying women who don't look African and women who look mulatto and women who look Indian, but not black. I'm not saying that you don't experience these hardships. I'm talking to my sisters though. And a lot of you women passing as black, you're not Africans. You're Creoles, you're mulattoes, you're Native Americans. But you are not black women. I'm talking to black women. Who can't find a black man. Because black men hate themselves and are so inferior that they actively prefer white women, tan women, mulatto women, Indian women. Because black men are afraid of the social backlash that comes with saying, you know what, I love my own race. I'm going to provide for a black woman. I'm going to openly choose a black woman. Black men are not ready to deal with social backlash. So my main point, though, is real people have real standards. When you're dealing with a real brother, and again, I haven't listened to everything Bernard Riley said, but I also see a video that I'm interested in watching where it says married brothers admit to submitting to their wives. How is that relevant? Because I want people to get real and to understand that a lot of these YouTubers, Derek Jackson included, but I still promote him because he's healing black women from pain and trauma that we go through with our men. He's healing black women. So I will always promote Derek Jackson because everything he says is what a black woman needs to hear in this day and age, because black women are the only women who are told by our men that we can't get better, we don't deserve better. And then when we know we can do better and we go do better outside the race or with a brother who is better, then we're ridiculed. We're called gold diggers or bed wenches when we do better. And these are things that white women don't have to deal with, because white women are considered the standard of beauty, and no matter how trash she is or how obese she is or ugly she is, she can get a black man. But black men want the most beautiful, educated, financially independent sisters to always constantly settle for their trash. Derek Jackson is reversing that and healing that, and he's letting black women know the scam that has been put on us by our men. And he's exposing that to the world. And he's letting black women know and understand without directly targeting black women. Derek Jackson does not target black women. Derek Jackson attracts black women because black women, above all women, need to hear that it's okay to set your standards high. That's why black women flock to Derek Jackson, because he's a handsome, dark-skinned brother. And most handsome, dark-skinned brothers hate black women. Most handsome, dark-skinned brothers are stupid. They're dumb. They're uneducated. They're in poverty. They're baby daddies. They can't keep their dick in their pants because they have no sexual control, so they fuck every girl who likes him. Most handsome, dark-skinned brothers are with white women because no matter how handsome he is, he's still an inferior, slave-minded thinking Negro who needs validation from white people to feel worth a damn. So the reason black women are drawn to Derek Jackson is not because that he's targeting us as single women for money. Derek Jackson was targeting black women as single black women, he would be acting more like Umar Johnson and saying, call Big Papa, and what y'all want, Big Papa, and what y'all want, King Kong of consciousness, ladies, and this, that, and I need a queen, and there will be two of you, and there will be two of you. You know, if Derek Jackson was trying to con black single women, he would be talking like Umar Johnson. He would be talking the way pimps talk. Derek Jackson is not a pimp. Derek Jackson is a married brother with dignity and class who is showing people how to love themselves enough to find compatibility instead of settling because of the corrupted society that we live in. And black women, more than anyone, see the value in him because black women cannot find brothers who look like him to talk like him. You see? So it's nothing against Bernard Riley or any other brothers who have criticized Derek Jackson. The reason I'm bringing Bernard Riley up is because he has one of the more valid critiques of some of the things Derek Jackson is saying, but more so I think it applies to the reality. And what I want sisters to understand is all across the board, you see how black men have responded to this Kevin Samuels incident. You see that all black men are agreeing with Kevin Samuels for the most part. I maybe seen one YouTube channel that may be by a black man who is negating the treatment of the sister. But all black men are agreeing with Kevin Samuels, and it goes to show all black men hate dark-skinned black women. All black men are trying to say that a brother who makes money, and this is when I want to get to Carrie Smalls, I think, or I think it's Carrie Smalls. It's basically another perspective. Kassie West. I don't know what I was thinking. Her name is Kassie West. But that kind of leads me to what Kassie West, a white woman who's married, who made a response video. I want sisters to understand the stark differences, and I compared Derek Jackson to Kevin Smalls to Kevin. Yeah, I'm getting names confused, but I compared Derek Jackson to what Kevin Samuels said, because those are two stark, contrasting opinions from both black men with platforms on giving advice about dating and marriage. And I wanted to compare and contrast the situation of Derek Jackson being a married man, what his business is about and what his message is, to a divorced brother who spits a lot of venom at black women. Not saying he's lying. I'm saying he spits venom, as opposed to Derek Jackson, who preaches healing and self-worth. And just looking at the different lifestyles. Derek Jackson married, younger and successful at a young age. Kevin Samuels divorced, older, bitter. So I want that, I use that as a way to help black women understand your first advice. And I don't like to use the word advice, because as an etymologist and as a witch, we have to take responsibility for spelling and casting spells. And so understanding that English language is a spell. English language is the Tower of Babel. It's a way to it's a one world communication. So it is a spell over, it is a way of casting spells too. So I prefer the word counsel to advice, because advice means to add a vice. A vice is not a positive thing. A vice usually is a kind of connoting addiction. Whereas counsel is gives the connotation of a round table of elders who are qualified to discuss the subject and give you guidance on the topic. So I did my first segment to help black women understand the first counseling you should get on being a single black woman and finding a mate comes from the scriptures. Not a human being. Not a guru. It comes from a book. It comes from a book that was ordained by the Most High Creator to give human beings spiritual guidance on how to survive Middle Earth. So, black women, you need to refer to the Old Testament and the New Testament. Refer to the Old Testament to see how black men treated black women before Christ came. So you can understand some of the things that I talk about, inferiority of black men and how black men hate black women. Look at the polygamy. Look at the prostitution. Look at the rape. The marrying of foreign, look at all the fuckery that happened among the Hebrew Israelites, aka black men, and how they dealt with the black women of their tribes and how they took in black women of foreign nations. And you parallel that to what you see niggers, black men, doing today. All right. So that's why sisters need to read the Old Testament to understand where we come from and why black men are so wicked. They've always been like that. Since Adam fell from grace, the black man has always treated black women like this. Stop blaming white supremacy. That's why if you read the Old Testament, you're going to understand the way black men deal with black women has nothing to do with crackers. It is the nature of the black man. It is not because white men came and castrated him. Yes, good black men have to deal with white supremacy and they suffer the traumatic effects. And sometimes that can affect his ability to relate to a black woman on a positive vibration. But that's the good brothers who are on such a vibration to know something is wrong that they can get angry or depressed, or suicidal or lash out and need therapy because they are wise enough to know something is wrong. But sisters, stop letting black men blame white supremacy for their wickedness. Read the Old Testament, then read the New Testament to understand Christ and why accepting Christ as your Lord and Savior is going to protect you from these cursed blacks out here and from humanity at large. But I'm talking to my sisters. We have a unique situation. And nobody is giving black women the truth. Even other black women out here who are a little older and single and everything, they're not dissecting the Bible and the scriptures in a way that's helping black women cope with the reality of the hatred of our men and the wickedness and us having no allies. Because these women have not coped. They're wearing weave. They're overweight. They're not marketable. So I want sisters to understand, real people can keep it real with you. But when people aren't keeping it real with themselves, you kind of gotta look to the Bible and to the scriptures and to Christ consciousness and what Christ said about things, because what Christ said is a very contradictory to what a lot of these black men and relationship gurus and everyone is talking about. So Bernard Riley here is a brother, has a PhD, said when he was on the market, so he's married now, but said when I was on the market, I couldn't get a Victoria's Secret model. I don't know what his income is. I would, from hearing him speak and what he's saying, I would assume he's in the $100,000 bracket, or maybe more so between 30 to 70,000. But I want sisters to start listening to black men who are reasonable, who are married, who do make $100,000 or more, or who at least make a decent living and have their own. They don't have to, but I want sisters to start listening to real brothers, not brothers out here who have such a following, and have such a public persona that they become a fantasy for sisters. And not brothers out here who are so in tune with Hollywood narcissism that they are satanic, and they're not giving you real advice for real people. They're giving you satanic jargon directly from Hollywood. And that's what Kevin Samuels is about. Because Kevin Samuels wants to say Derek Jackson is not realistic and this and this and that. When, the reason I brought up Kassie West is, like Bernard Riley, a real brother who's, I discussing Bernard Riley, my point in kind of drawing people to his critique is because I think it's important for black women to understand there's real brothers out here who are really on the market. Derek Jackson's not on the market. Brothers like Kevin Samuels are not eligible to help black women. Because, so I want to guide sisters. I'm not saying Bernard Riley is like the end all be all. I think people like, Angel, or I think it's IKYG. I think he's a really good role model because he speaks up for black women specifically, and he's not ashamed to do that. And there's not a lot of brothers out here, and I believe he's got his black girlfriend, in some of his marketing, promoting, black women and loving black women. So if anyone, I would recommend Angel, IKYG. But Bernard Riley has some valid points, and I think it's important for sisters to understand that, the thing with Bernard Riley is he is handsome. I think he is almost as handsome as Derek Jackson. I think they have a similar look, but Bernard Riley looks short. So there is something about him that just looks short, and that that realistically, so I want to talk about what he's saying, because The sister in question that Kevin Smalls, kind of dug into, she wasn't real. She's not realistic because her hair isn't real. Her beauty standards for herself aren't real. She clearly doesn't find herself beautiful, and she clearly didn't put enough time. She didn't put as much time into being a six-figure woman as she did into loving her black hair, her natural beauty. And the Bible does not mention anywhere the importance of a woman having six-figure income. But the Bible talks several times about the importance of a woman being covered at the head. So Isaiah 4:1 applies to this sister because we will have our own mantle, meaning I got my own money, and eat our own bread. She don't, but please just let us call us by your name to take away our reproach. She's a single mother who has a 13-year-old son, which is good for her because the older the child gets, the sooner that he can get out of your way of finding an eligible man. That's real. If you don't want to be with the baby daddy because he didn't make enough. You see, my point is Bernard Riley and brothers talking like him are not bashing black women. I don't know what his marriage situation is, but his vibration kind of tells me that he's realistic, so I'm hoping that he's with a sister. But my point is, black women, keeping it real is it starts with your beauty for yourself. Not, be realistic about how much you love yourself based on how you look. And that's what Derek Jackson won't do. He won't critique a black woman's image and make that a standard. But God does. God does make the black woman's beauty a standard. Because he cursed the black woman's beauty. Because of how she was using it to seduce men instead of being humble and appreciating the beauty that God gave her that he did not give to foreign women. So the black woman's beauty was cursed because she was becoming hoish with it. So sisters, be real with yourselves. Brothers like Bernard Riley, he can keep it real. He's attractive, but he's probably short. He's got a little gut, probably got some other things where he's like, even though I make enough money and even though I'm a PhD, I was real. And I think that he speaks for the majority of black men in America. And when I say the majority of black men in America, I can't say that the majority of black men in America are eligible as him, but I will say this. The majority of black men in America, I believe the majority of are good, decent men who are mediocre, who want to be with a black woman, but who will settle. Who will settle for the first thing that they're comfortable with. And I don't think that the majority of black men have PhDs in America. I personally think that the majority of black men in America are between mass incarcerated or in an impoverished situation, meaning they're chefs or starving artists or laborers. I don't think that they have PhDs, but I do think Bernard Riley represents the majority of black men in America in that I think the majority of black men in America are more realistic about where they stand. And that's why the majority of black men hate black women in America, because black women are not realistic. And I think that's what black men are trying to get at. But I think a lot of black men don't have the emotional, financial, and spiritual wisdom to actually discuss the subject, because they're coming from a place of, I don't have anything to offer a black woman, so I'm going to get on the bandwagon of bashing black women who can do better than me. And this is not what black women do, yo. Black women don't keep it real about what they deserve the way brothers do, you see. And brothers be keeping it real, you know, about their preferences for white women and this and that, because a lot of black men, they keeping it real. They're inferior. They're inferior and they want to feel better. But a lot of black women are not really turning to the scriptures to keep it real about beauty and self-hatred and femininity and what womanhood actually is. And when it comes to keeping it real, I think it's more important for a black woman to listen to someone like Derek Jackson. But if you are healing, but if you're on the dating market as a black woman, listen to someone like Bernard Riley, who's married and who will give you a average black man's perspective. Because there's a lot of average brothers out here, and I see a lot of black women, really putting themselves out there to get men with money or to be a prostitute. They're doing themselves up and they're playing these roles that is really the role that a prostitute plays, a woman who is gold digging. And you know, I think that keeping it real for sisters about black men, it starts with not setting standards that reflect what you desire, but setting standards that reflect your relationship with who you are. And I don't think it's nothing wrong with a black woman who makes $100,000 a year wanting a black man who makes that much or more. That is realistic. And so when it comes to keeping it real, I want people to understand what I mean by it. So I want to continue to speaking about
What's up, good people? Welcome back to Bernard.
Kassie West. So I want to let black women know, part of keeping it real is being real about your worth as a woman based on how much you love the way you look. If you are a black woman who wears fake hair and for a reason that's not medical, meaning your hair's alopecia or hair loss from cancer or something like that, but if you're wearing fake hair, especially in Eurocentric styles, why you want a brother who's keeping it real as a man by saying, I know my role as a man is to protect and provide, so I'm going to do whatever I can do to get that money. A lot of brothers keep it real knowing I'm not that marketable on the dating field, so let me make this money, let me get this education, let me take an extra mile to get woman, to get pussy, to get ladies, because I know I'm not tall, dark, and handsome. And a lot of sisters, you got to realize, tall, dark, and handsome men are no good for black women for the most part, because they're baby daddies. A lot of them get married young because a lot of them are simps. And they get caught up with a woman knows, I got a tall, dark, and handsome. First thing she's going to do is get pregnant by you. So all tall, dark, and handsome brothers got a baby by a woman who knew his worth on the dating market and said, let me taint his image because I want to trap him. So all tall, dark, and handsome men are baby daddies, sisters, number one. Which is what you really want, And a lot of tall, dark, and handsome men don't have six figures unless they're gladiators playing in the Roman Colosseum for Roman entertainment. You see, so you sisters want these tall, dark, and handsome men when most of them are athletes who are not allowed to date black women because of the amount of money they make. Because you sisters want to act like there's not a